Good morning, Remax West. Charles Park, broker manager, Remax West here. And today is the 8th of July. And guess what? We are still working from home. So today's special topic, thank you everyone for joining me right now. We have a few less people today because I know that I promised a lot of people that I would be recording this and posting it to YouTube. As such, I need to be sensitive with some of the personal and private information that's going to be presented here. So when you see me flip between screens and not fully going through the process, it's because I'm just basically trying to protect some private information, guys. So just so you guys know, today's topic is using electronic lock boxes with Broker Bay. And the fun thing about this is that I've been using this electronic lockbox before we even had Broker Bay. But I don't want you guys to make the same mistake that I made. So if you guys could just bear with me. I don't have a really rehearsed script for today's meeting. I'm just gonna kind of wing it with you guys. I went through this entire process a few times, and now I'm gonna share with you guys my experiences and hopefully save you guys some time, because I know that you guys like saving time. And there are certain roadblocks that I ran into. Hopefully you can avoid those pitfalls. I was even on the phone with Broker Bay yesterday because I had trouble navigating the Masterlock Vault Enterprise software, their website, and trying to link the electronic lockbox that we had purchased to Broker Bay, and it took us about 15 minutes on the phone just to figure that out. So because we figured all that stuff out, guess what? We're set to go. Okay. So anyways, without further ado, let's, as you guys can see, if you guys are looking at your screens, you can see that I'm sharing my screen with you guys. I got the Masterlock Enterprise website up. It is enterprise.masterlockvault.com. So I'm gonna stop sharing my screen for just 1 second here. Okay, here we go. Now, let's back up a little bit. My very first lockbox looked like this. Everybody see that? It's a little crazy. It was basically like a Dudley lock. Remember back in the day when we were in high school, we all had Dudleys. So you knew that you got a this one gave you a 3-letter code. And what you had to do, and if you bought it from the Toronto Real Estate Board way back when, I think the default code was SPI. And as a real estate agent, booking appointments way back when, I knew that the listing agent who gave me a lockbox code of SPI basically did it out of pure laziness. Okay, so to change the lockbox code on these antiquated pieces of hardware, right, what you had to do is you had to take the panel off, and on the back you had to remove this panel, and inside were these wheels. Okay, can you see that? And you actually had to align the wheels, right, to reprogram your lockbox code, right? So I remember SLD, right? That was a very popular one back in the day. People use their initials to create a lockbox code. But the one thing that I did like about this one, especially in selling condos way back when, was this was a very secure, sorry, wheel fell out, a very secure means of getting codes. Like when someone opened the lockbox, if you found this piece lying on the floor, or if they actually put it back in the lockbox in the open position, you knew the last number. In this case, it was X, but you didn't have the full code, so you couldn't really break into it without taking the thing apart and taking a look at all the wheels. So for the condos, I kind of like that. And then we slowly upgraded to this lockbox. Everybody see that? It's all black, but these are the push button lockboxes. These are Supras. They're made by the same company. And the nice thing about this was it was easier to program. So when you took the back off, right, it had these little tabs. See these little tabs? And then if you put them in the up or down position, they're on or off. You could actually pick as many numbers as you wanted to turn on, and in no particular order, as long as you hit all those buttons, you could open the lockbox, right? And I don't have the other Masterlock lockbox with me today, but the rotary dial ones seem to be the most popular ones out there. And lo and behold, here we are today. So a little bit of history about lockboxes. We are here now, okay? This particular lockbox, for those of you who have a big enough screen, this is the lockbox of choice for RE/MAX West. And I'm gonna tell you why. This particular lockbox, when it was demonstrated way back in, I believe it was late November, early December, when we met with Broker Bay, and they actually brought 3 different type of electronic lockboxes to the presentation. And for those of you who've been working outside the Toronto Real Estate Board and in the outlying boards, London, for example, there are certain boards that have made electronic lockboxes mandatory. And working, if you wanted to be a buyer agent in those boards, you basically had to subscribe, because they're using Bluetooth technology, to their lockbox companies. You have to subscribe, and there was a fee associated. So imagine if you just wanted to buy your client one house and you booked, you know, half a dozen appointments. You had to pay, you had to go through this entire process and subscribe to this this Bluetooth platform so that you could have access to the electronic lockbox on site. So that was very frustrating. And also, as a listing agent, the listing agents with their electronic lockboxes had to pay a subscription fee as well on a monthly basis. So imagine, so the whole lockbox phenomenon almost became dead on site at that very moment for the Toronto Real Estate Board. Because imagine at that time we had over 50,000 agents, and you weren't going to mandate that all 50,000 agents were going to have to pay a $5 subscription fee per month just to open up an electronic lockbox. And then came along Master. And then when this was presented to us, it kind of solved that whole solution. There is still a subscription fee, and I'm going to show you that today, but it is a flat fee. It is not a monthly fee. And the nice thing about this is there's a hybrid app for this. You can still issue a code. So someone doesn't have to have an app, right, to access the lockbox when they arrive at the property. Now, you've got a master code that only the listing agent or the person who owns that lockbox knows, but there is a revolving code, right, that gets issued. Now, there's a couple of ways of doing this, and I'm going to actually show you really quickly what I went through before we had Broker Bay. I'm going to pull up my phone here. And for those of you who have known me for a while, I had a client last year. Well, at the beginning of this year, actually, in January, and when we listed their property, they'd been broken into. Their house had been broken into, so they were very apprehensive about putting a lockbox on the property. And luckily, I had already had this delivered to me. Now, I'm going to go through the chronology here. This was ordered back on January 7th. So I'm going to hold this up. Okay, this is my receipt for my original electronic lockbox, and I'm going to read this to you. Okay. I ordered the personal use Masterlock box software platform. The model number on this is a 5440D. Now, at the time, I had not realized that I bought for $137.49 Canadian, right, the personal version of the lockbox. I thought I was buying the enterprise version, which would work with Broker Bay eventually, but we didn't have Broker Bay at the time. So I just went ahead, I ordered this, $137.49. This thing was on special. So with shipping and handling and taxes, it came out to $155.36. I get it. Sounds like a lot of money, right? We can buy lockboxes for less than 20 bucks now. Why do I want to spend $155.36? Wait, this alleviated the apprehension of putting on a lockbox at my listing. So I think the lockbox paid for itself just by addressing that objection. It was going to be very difficult to show the property, obviously without a lockbox. You know, if they wanted me to be present for all the showings, yeah, that's really tough. And when I presented this option to them, and it gave them a sense of security. So we really ended up doing a lot of stuff. So and I got the listing, and lo and behold, we ended up getting the listing and getting it sold. There is a process to this. To this madness. I'm going to show you real quickly here. So I still have on my phone, on the icon on the bottom left-hand corner, it's called the Masterlock app. Now, this is the personal version of the app. Okay. Now it's really, really simple. Okay. it really has very little to it. There is the unlock, right? And you see the little hook, right? That is to unlatch the entire mechanism, okay? Now, if I hit the three little bars in the top right-hand corner, I get a menu. What I can do, I can get a temporary code, and I can issue that code directly. So I'm actually confirming all of my own appointments. Without Broker Bay, I, as the listing agent, can confirm the appointments with a temporary code for a specific agent. Now, I'm not communicating with that specific lockbox right now. I click on Get Temporary Code, okay, and it tells me the date. So let's say we want to do it for tomorrow, July the 9th, and I click Next, okay. That is the time I want to do it between, let's say, 4 p.m., after 4 p.m. and this one actually defaults to midnight, between 4 p.m. and midnight. It's a big gap, but it'll issue me, I click Next, right? And it issues me a temporary code for this lockbox for that particular time period, for that particular date. So that's just a quick demonstration of how you get a lockbox combination that's temporary, issue that to an agent for them to go to the property, and they can only use that code that day at that time. Now, it's quite a wide time, so whether they come earlier or later, you can gauge that. So that's just simply an agent that is monitoring and managing the appointments themselves by controlling the personal lockbox on the app on their phone. Now, after downloading this app and setting up the lockbox, at the bottom of every single one of these lockbox, there is a device ID, okay? It is written on the bottom of every single, so it's a unique identifier for each one of these devices. And without that device ID, and I'll show you, each one of these lock boxes comes with a little sheet of paper. And in the top corner of the sheet of paper, you get not only the device ID, but you get an activation code, right? And you also get a primary code, which is your master code for accessing that particular lockbox. So you have all the information right out of the box, and you can actually just start using it like a regular lockbox. It's all given to you, but you got to register that on their website, download the app to get the full functionality out of it. Okay, so I've already talked about my first experience with the lockbox, which was the wrong lockbox. The 5440D is not the one you want. Okay, let me see that again. The 544D, okay, 440D is not the lockbox. If you're looking, now I bought this on Amazon, so you can see the little Amazon logo up in the top here. I was looking for a deal, and this actually was on special at the time. I think it was like there was 20 bucks off this lockbox, and I thought, what a great opportunity to pick one of these up. Okay, so I bought it, and lo and behold, it's a personal version, and it doesn't work with Broker Bay. All hope is not lost. I've heard through the rumor mill that I can download additional software for, I believe, an extra 25 bucks US, and I can make this an enterprise version. So if you guys have already ordered this particular series or have this lockbox, call me later, and I'm going to be trying to convert this lockbox, which I own, into an enterprise version. Okay, now moving forward, let's go to this bag. So this particular lockbox, and here's the difference in model number, and I'm going to show you. I ordered this on eBay. So here's my eBay receipt. I ordered this on June 18th, and it just showed up this week on Monday, I believe. I had actually asked Frank Leo, who's been using these lockboxes for quite a while. I wasn't sure if I was going to get my lockbox in time for the seminar, so I actually reached out to him, and he actually provided me one of his activated lockboxes. Because it was already activated, I wouldn't be able to show you how to activate it. So now that I've got my own, right, which has not been activated yet, I'm going to spend a little bit of time with you guys on the website and showing you how to activate these things so that they can work with Broker Bay. Now, here's the model number of the correct version that you're going to need. This is the Masterlock 5440 ENT for Enterprise. Okay, now, what did I pay? I was searching all over the internet for a deal on this thing, okay? And I only ended up buying one because I already have one that I hope to upgrade, but this one is the enterprise version. I paid in US dollars, $161.99, and that was on special, okay? Now, once you added all the taxes, shipping, and everything, if you look in the top right-hand corner here, it cost me $189.98 US. So that's how much it's going to cost you if it's on special, to buy one of these enterprise lock boxes. That may be a little rich for your blood, but it doesn't stop there, okay? Once you buy the enterprise version and you want to get what's called a share code to link it to Broker Bay, you have to pay another $50 activation fee. I know this sounds harsh, and it's US dollars, by the way, okay? You got to put in your credit card, and that $50 replaces that $5 per month subscription fee that all the other agents from all the other real estate boards that are already paying. So the listing agent is paying, because we're the listing agents, we have to activate our lock boxes. We've actually paid in advance the $50 US, right, to enable this to be compatible with our booking system in Broker Bay. And now we've alleviated any animosity from the buyer agent having to download a Bluetooth app on their mobile device in order to access that lockbox, which makes absolutely no sense to some of these people, as you can understand. And I gotta totally agree. If I'm an agent and I'm gonna be like, I gotta do what? You're asking me to download an app just to get into your particular property? I might second guess even showing it. So we've come full circle now. This has been a great opportunity for us to protect our clients. So let me get right into showing you that. So I'm gonna share my screen again. Oops, share screen. Where are we here? And there we go, share. Okay, so if you have any questions or anything, just let me know at the beginning. You can actually just unmute yourself and jump in here. My speakers are on. I also see that there was a few comments here. You know what, I'm gonna hold the questions up until the end of the seminar, but as you can see on your screen, I am at enterprise.masterlockvault.com. Okay, so we're gonna do this together. I don't have an organization ID yet. This is brand new for me. So what I'm going to do is I'm gonna register a new organization. Now, because this is a personal lockbox, it's not a company-owned lockbox, I'm just gonna call it something that I'm gonna be familiar with. Charles Park Real Estate. Something easy to remember, right? And what does my organization do? We're in real estate, so that's one of the pull-down menus. Okay, we are in Canada, so I'm gonna hit the letter C, find Canada, and now I never remember my postal code. Let me pull that out. And what is my postal code? L4G0W4, L4G0W4. Next. Great. So I'm going to provide them my email address for those of you who know me. This is not a secret. charlespark416@gmail.com. And my phone number. This is not a secret. Right? First name I should know. And last name. I'm not a robot. Next. Okay, so this specific organization ID that they're asking for, if you look at the top here, it's going to give you sort of like a website of your own for your own organization. And once again, I'm going to just call it Charles Park Real Estate. Right, something very simple. And I agree the terms and use of the policy. And I don't know if any of you actually ever click on the terms of use. I'm just going to register. Great. So this will be, right, if I ever want to get into my particular login page to manage my devices, I am going to have to remember this website, right, to sign in, okay? So I'm going to sign in. I'm going to provide them my email address. And my password. Now, here's what's interesting. I actually, because I attempted this before, I'm wondering if, this is interesting.
Charles, they said they sent a temporary password to your email.
Yeah, I know. Hang on a second. let's go into that. Yeah, there it is. Got it. So I'm going to double click that. Copy. Go back to Vault. Paste. Yeah, I can save it. It's my own computer. Now I'm going to set up a new password, right? And copy that again. I have reviewed. Yeah, they can contact me. Why not? Let's get some junk mail. All right. So this is the page, right, that I just set up with my under my user account, and I'm going to try to add my lockbox to Masterlock Vault. So I'm going to pull this out. Okay. Click over here where it says add a new lock. Now the device ID is on that little piece of paper. What happened to my piece of paper? Oh, buried in here. It's actually on the piece of paper, so I don't have to squint and read it off the device itself. A248 YW. Right, and the activation code is on this sheet of paper that I'm reading. A2L R00 5E activate. Great, and there it is. Now this was a screen where we got stuck yesterday and setting up someone else's master lockbox. I'm like, okay, great. I can click on my lockbox. I can see, okay, great. There's the model number, last connected on for, okay. I was like, hey, I can get a temporary code from here, but how do I link this, right, to the front desk, right? So I went back to locks. I could see my device, guys. When you get stuck on this page, this is the key. This is what I spent 15 minutes on the phone with Broker Bay yesterday. I needed to click onto this little square just left of my device. And when I click on that square, a new menu pops up on the right-hand side. And guess what shows up? If you can see on your screens here, upgrade for Broker Bay, okay? Now, here's the big purchase. If you guys aren't following, please unmute yourself and slow me down. So I'm going to type in my email address. And I'm going to scroll down a little bit. And unfortunately, I have to put in my credit card information on this. So I'm not going to do this right now for you guys. What I'm going to do is I'm going to register this. What happens is when you register your lockbox and you paid the $50 US, right? It's going to give you something called a share code. Okay, so without having to put my credit card information on a YouTube video, I'm going to just skip this stage for now. I'm going to leave it open though. And I am actually going to show you on Broker Bay. Once you get your share code, so I'm not sure if everybody's appointment sheets have been updated, but the appointment sheet should show in the top right-hand corner, if you're using an electronic lockbox, you need to provide us that share code. So I'm going to go to Broker Bay now. So I actually, here, if I'm in the admin queue, I'm a global administrator, so you guys not be able to see, have the same menus that I do, but I just wanted to walk through with you guys. Hang on a second. What's going on here? Okay, I'm gonna walk through with you. I got an echo here, 1 second. Okay, sorry about the echo. I'm gonna walk through with you guys the actual steps that we need in order to register your electronic lockbox on Broker Bay. So what I did is I have a listing that's already sold, MEADOW. So for those of you who know me, this is my parents' house, and 190 Meadow Road, as you can see here, it's sold, but I can still put an electronic lockbox on the property if I want, okay? So my parents live here, yeah, okay. We're not booking any appointments. We're gonna go into the appointments, okay? And then I am actually going to configure the appointments. Now, under the appointment configuration menu, right, in the top right-hand corner here, you're gonna see lockbox. So right now I've got a lockbox on the property. I'm gonna change it to Masterlock. Okay, and you have to give it a second. Right? Now, because I have, actually I'm gonna be using one of Frank's lockboxes because he's already registered it. I actually went through and I assigned Frank's lockbox, right, to myself. So you can't use somebody else's lockbox without their permission. And also you can't use somebody else's electronic lockbox who doesn't work for the company because it has to be registered with our brokerage in our system. You can borrow one from from someone inside the company, and then we would have to assign that lockbox right to you. So if I click on select, this particular device ID, right, is one of Frank's devices, and it's going to validate it, and it's going to assign it to my particular listing. So now that I've done that, right, we're all set. Save at the bottom. So if someone was trying to book an appointment on this particular property now, it would automatically generate a temporary lockbox code for that particular agent in order for them to access the property on a particular day at a particular time. And what's really amazing is that if I actually go into, I believe it's the admin queue, right? And I go into the manage, I think it's the users or, nope. I believe it is, where is it here? Admin, manage lockboxes, here it is. Sorry, it was at the bottom of the page. I got my credit card covering it. All right, so as you can see here, we've got a number of lockboxes that are registered, right, with our company. Right, and all the individual IDs, right, are all listed here. Okay, so I just wanted to show that quickly to you guys. I can do a search to see what has been registered with the company in order for us to get that lockbox assigned to your particular listing. Okay, so that was this training session in a nutshell. I wanted to be fairly quick. I wanted to be fairly concise. I'm gonna open it up. I'm gonna stop sharing my screen here with you guys. To any questions that you might have. I'm actually gonna, let's go into the chat. Boris wanted to know, is it for every lockbox? No, so yes, okay, I've only shown you one specific lockbox, and that's the Masterlock. The reason why I'm endorsing this particular product, if you've joined us a little bit later, is because the cost. For some of us, we hate that recurring cost. Why do we have to pay $5 every single month, right? Just to have a lockbox. And you have to pay it whether you're almost using the lockbox or not. So for those of us who don't get many listings in a year or are not even listing agents at all, why are we paying for this service? So, but as a buyer agent, do you want a buyer agent to go out and have to pay for a subscription to an app to hold up against the lockbox just to access that lockbox, just to get in? So you will see a little bit later on that you will have the ability to actually track, and this is a little bit more advanced, but you can track the number of people that have used the lockbox, when and where they accessed it. So you'll keep a digital record of all of that information, which is fantastic. I think that that information would be really comforting to a client to know, when did they use the lockbox? When did they get in? So we don't really have that with these analog devices. Now that we've gone digital, we can now download that information. We can show our clients at what time our clients are accessing our properties. Okay, the expense, I get it, Iris, and that's what I addressed early on. Maybe the $200 US plus the $50 US activation to get it to talk to Broker Bay, it seems a little steep per lockbox. You were spending $250 US per lockbox. I don't know really what else to tell you guys other than that's what it costs. I'm hoping that we can negotiate at least some kind of bulk discount with some of the suppliers, for this particular lockbox. I know of only 2 or 3 of them that actually stock this. They seem to be out of stock quite a bit now. I don't know why, but maybe I get it. There are people out there buying them 50 to 100 at a time, and it seems to be going through the inventory quite quickly. It is what it is. You may want to continue to use your $20 lockboxes on a continuing basis, but let's address the objection of putting a lockbox on a property. I'm going to date myself here, but way back when I first started, when I was booking appointments as a buyer agent in Woodbridge, there was no way you would get a lockbox combination for showing any of those properties. It was go direct every single time. I don't know what it was, but for that particular community, they honestly did not want people accessing the property without supervision, because they didn't trust that by putting a lockbox on their property that you were really protecting their property. It's a value proposition, guys. If you guys are in a listing presentation, you might want to present, like, we got to care about the security of our clients. Why is it, especially, I made this comparison actually just recently to one of our Bloor West agents who was getting a listing in Muskoka. Okay, he drove all the way to Muskoka to put a lockbox on that listing. Great. When are you going to be able to change that code, even after you sold it? And let's say, a dozen agents have been in and out of there. You haven't been up there to manually change the code on that lockbox. You don't know anybody up there to change the code on that lockbox. And now a dozen agents and possibly their clients have access to that particular property. How are you going to prove who was in and out of that property? Because it's so remote, right? An electronic lockbox solves that situation, hands down. So I think that if you're going to be presenting value to people and say, hey, look, I'm willing to put an electronic lockbox on your property to protect your property. Vacant properties, we think, oh, what's the big deal? It's about a vacant property. I had a vacant listing up in Collingwood. And somehow the local kids got a hold of that combination and had a party in our chalet at Blue Mountain. So it was like, and they caused so much damage, and they turned the water on, and it was a wintertime, and they left windows and doors open, and the pipes froze, and we ended up with tens of thousands of dollars of damage, water damage in that particular listing. So take it from me, guys. I'm all about protecting our clients and their listings. And it is not a fun experience knowing that something's been stolen and you can't prove because 20 people had the lockbox combination. You can't prove who went in and out of that property. Are we going to set up cameras? Right? Well, how much does a camera cost? How much does a camera system cost these days? $250, $300, $400? My God. And then you got to pay a monthly subscription fee if they're Wi-Fi based. Yeah, you got to pay for the Wi-Fi connection too to download now with all these new cameras, all the video footage to see who's gone in and out of that property. That's crazy. The electronic lockbox, in my opinion, is the solution to protect our clients. Okay. So, but hey, if you guys want to have an argument about this, I will be more than happy to address your concerns. Let's see here. Yeah, Home Depot. Okay, so let's take a look at what Boris has posted here. Boris, I'm going to take a look at the link that you sent. This looks like the personal version. Yeah, so Boris, you're about to buy what I initially bought that doesn't work with Broker Bay. So you can pay the extra $25 US and upgrade this to an enterprise version, or you can buy the proper version, which I mentioned to you guys. It's the 5440 ENT. So this is the D, not the ENT, as that I'm looking at. If you guys are looking at the comment section that Boris has just posted, you can see that the link that he's provided is, now I'm just telling you, it's the wrong lockbox. Okay, Randy Yetman, you've also provided me a link, and you may have provided me the right one. Nope, you are actually just in the website for the vault. Okay, so obviously when you purchase your subscription to, or when you get one of these lock boxes, the instructions that it comes with, and I hold this up, it tells you right in the first paragraph, right, what website to go to register your device. Okay, so hopefully you guys, when you start getting your devices, I'm available to you guys to walk you through it one-on-one if you're having trouble determining exactly what to do or where to get started. And we're going to take it from there. Carla, it's good to see you. I haven't seen you for so long. You actually sent out an email announcement. I'm not sure if it went to everybody that's on this particular seminar. Guys, if you guys have any questions, please call me about the electronic lock boxes, but I really want to get Carla to jump in here because she just sent out an email announcement regarding interest rates. So Carla, I see you've unmuted yourself. Go.
Hey. Hi, thank you so much, Charles. Yeah, so fixed rates went down, and we are expecting the conventional mortgages to go down as well later this week. TD all across, I think they from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 fixed terms went down, but variable hasn't moved the discount on that. So I think that if your client is looking to live in that home for the next 5 years, that this is a very important question actually, because they could be on a hook for thousands of dollars. Actually, it's funny because somebody contacted me yesterday asking me if they could move their mortgage. And I asked, you know what, call your financial institution, see how much it's gonna cost you to break that mortgage, and then we can see what we can do. So actually it was 47,000. So it's not gonna be easy to find something to replace that mortgage, even though the rates are so low, but we'll try.
Can you give us an example of what the rates look like now, or what they look like and what they're going to look like?
Okay, so it really depends bank to bank, and remember, sometimes it's not about the rate, it's actually getting approved by the lender, and different lenders have different guidelines. But obviously, we always try to get the best for the client, lender rate and the approval itself. So with that being said, it varies anywhere from, I think, to 1.89 fixed rate, 5 years, to 2.19, I will say.
Wow.
Depending on the lender. Yes, and for conventional mortgages, which are the 30-year amortization, is anywhere from 2.19 to 2.59 approximately.
So I'm going to ask you the $1 million question. It's the 8th day into July right now. That CMHC announcement on how they modified the qualification rules. Have you seen a large impact as a result of that 8 days in?
Very good question. So I had a client that checked all the boxes, and because the client missed one payment from their mortgage in the past, I had a bill, very small bill. It was actually $120, and Genworth declined the deal.
You're kidding me.
Canada Guaranteed
That's
also
crazy.
declined the deal. Yeah. So I will say, prepare your customers. Tell them, you know what, if you're having a very hard time right now paying your bills, and why not, talk to the financial institutions. They are helping, still helping people. So it's better to fix whatever is going on right now, rather than just leaving it the way it is. And then when you really want to get back to normal, then you're gonna, have a lot of stones on the road. So it's better to clear that and make sure that, your credit is good, up and running, and we're able to help the client.
It's not just about credit anymore. It boils down to your
history,
your behavior.
Yeah, before there was no questions asked if you missed a payment, to be completely honest. I never had such a hard time. However, the clients that have good record and stuff like that, I haven't seen anything, having any problems in general, especially when Genworth and Canada Guaranteed. But they are looking at in the past of the behavior of the client.
Wow. Okay. Well, that's interesting. It's not that things have really changed. They've really tightened up, it seems.
Exactly.
So it's the same, but just tighter. And people have, maybe the underwriters are kind of putting us under a microscope more so now than ever before.
Yes, yes, they are questioning everything, from income, from that to down payment, um, credit score. So I think like by preparing the client properly, I think we can get ahead. One thing that I will strongly suggest is before applying, check your credit yourself and just see what you can improve. And honestly, like the credit goes up very fast if you do little tricks. In about a month or two, you can have a very good credit, providing that you don't have anything on collections or anything holding like a bankruptcy or something like that. Also, people that want to refinance and have the bankruptcy, the lenders are not refinancing, period.
Right.
Until it's out of your it doesn't matter if it's discharged or not. A lenders are not doing it. B lenders, it's sort of like the way they do business. But for banks and A lenders, as soon as they see that you have bankruptcy, it's a no-go. For purchases is different. For
I can tell you, I've had a number of mutual releases handed to me, come across my desk. I had 3 mutual releases in one day. And when I called the agents, because I always like to know why I'm signing mutual releases, all 3 that day were because financing fell through. So we know that there are lots of people that are trying to buy our listings. Because it slowed down a little bit, they're still able to get their financing conditions into the agreements, but they are walking away from these purchases.
From the sale last minute.
Yeah. So you get a 5-day financing condition, and the consensus is the bank said no, or the lending institution, whoever they might have been, has said no. We had a couple people that have mutually released the agreement. Even they went back to, and they because they only had 5 days. They got no from the financing specialist that they were dealing with. Went out and found alternative lending and came back. We hadn't even issued a refund on the deposit yet. And yet they were coming back to the table saying, here's a new agreement of purchase and sale. We're willing to buy the property now. We don't need a financing condition. We don't want our deposit back. Can you, what can we do with that deposit? And I had to give them a clause to assign the original deposit from that agreement of purchase and sale to the new agreement of purchase and sale, so that we didn't have to refund that money to them and go through that entire process. Because, it would have held, by issuing that check, they would have had to deposit it. The bank would have put a hold on it, and then they readily don't have the funds to make the deal go through. So rather than going through that big headache, we managed to just assign the deposit that was already in our trust account to the new agreement of purchase and sale, which ended up firming that thing up. So I've had almost 2 or 3 of those in the last couple of months creep up on me. I know these clauses. I know how to manage these scenarios, but I've never had to do it so often in such a short period of time. So obviously, when you see things like that happening out there, you question and go, what's going on? Like, why are the banks saying no? So, but you're kind of answering it now.
Yeah, so they're sort of like really seeing all the little details.
Yeah.
Now, one thing that I wanted to talk as well is about the alternative lending, like B lenders. Tell your client to not be scared of that type of lending. I mean, it's an investment, just as if with an insured mortgage that you have to pay thousands of dollars to insure that deal. It's pretty much like almost the same. Yes, the client has to have the money to be able to close that deal, the 1%, but it's an investment at the end of the day. It's gonna get harder and harder to own something in Toronto. The reality in Toronto is that there is money. There is people that are buying. There are people that do qualify. So if they do have the 20%, tell them, you know what, it's not forever, it's for 1 year, 2 years, and then we will make sure that you get into an A lender.
Right.
But just for you to have your foot on the door and be able to own a property, it might be a good investment just to invest a little bit more, and then we switch it somewhere else.
Yeah. So I think I'm looking at all the transactions and they're closing. So we obviously know that there are people buying properties that are qualified to buy properties. I was fielding an inquiry, was it yesterday or the day before, on why certain pockets of our real estate market have slowed down. Well, guess what? The borders have been shut. If your particular real estate pocket is heavily dominated by immigrant buyers, these buyers are physically not here. They happen to arrive. We used to have 200,000 people coming to our city every single year. And since the pandemic and the borders have been shut down, these people are not coming anymore. So that has taken a lot of the pressure away from, number one, rentals. Rentals are not as robust as they used to be. We used to get into multiple offers for rentals repeatedly over and over and over again. And now, because people aren't even able to come over the border, that has stopped. And also in particular pockets where you see a high percentage of immigrant buyers, they may be Canadian, but they're immigrating their families slowly, and some of them got stuck. So I know that these people they want to buy, but they're just not able to get here. So we received a few agreements of purchase and sale from people in trust for people that were not physically here to sign an agreement of purchase and sale to buy the property. So we know that these are unusual circumstances. We're trying to cope and we're trying to still do business like normal. But here's the silver lining. We are almost exactly where we were last year in 2019 now. So for everyone who's still on this call, I know about half of you have dropped off. For those of you who hung in there, guess what? We are, if not slightly above, exactly where we were in 2019 for the beginning of July. So it is an absolute amazing scenario that we've recovered so quickly. Our industry has recovered so quickly, and these people are closing. Because you know what? Everybody that submitted an agreement prior pandemic who had to close during the pandemic, guess what? They're closing. So the money's there. We know that these people are getting mortgages and they're buying houses. They seem to be more local. I seem to be seeing a lot less foreign investment, right? Or what we call foreign investment. But guess what? It's happening. So there's almost no excuse to say that the market's in a depression right now. It's not.
No.
Okay.
No. I find that all my pre-approvals are in multiple offers all the time.
Yeah.
There is like I have specifically 2 couples that I feel so bad because almost every day they are like, Carla, can we stretch the number for this one? Can we stretch the number for that? And it just like comes back to, I'm sorry, we didn't get it. We are gonna have to, send you more stuff. And I'm like, I'm happy to do it, no problem. But it is a reality. We have a lack of inventory, and I think the people that are buying and the ones that are qualifying and why not,
yeah,
they are really having a hard time. So it's an interesting time for sure.
Absolutely. Okay, so that's all the time we've got, guys. It's almost 10:49 a.m. now, but I want to thank everybody for joining us. This will be on YouTube. If you want to slap a like on this video or subscribe to my channel, you're more than welcome to. Next week's topic is obviously going to be the top 5 CRMs, and we're going to compare them to what Remax has acquired. We acquired a company called Bouge. They are based out of Seattle, and so, but we don't have it here in Ontario yet. I believe they're still working on Canadianizing that platform. But if you're not going to wait for Bouge to be available and you are curious about CRMs, which is the best deal for you, even if it's just for a year, I'm going to be talking about that next week. I look forward to seeing you guys next week, okay? Until then, stay safe. Take care, guys.